People get sick everywhere all the time, and majority of those illnesses could be traced from that which individual could not live without: food and water. Foodborne diseases remain a formidable problem around the world, causing human suffering and economic loss. For this reason, information to ensure safety of food has never been in greater demand. Let's go back a little on our history on what people did to ensure that our food is safe. In 1963, the Food and Agriculture Organization and the World Health Organization joined hands in forming the Codex Alimentarius Commission to develop food standards and guidelines that ensures that food is safe and suitable for human consumption. In 1969, this commission brought out the recommended Code of Practice for hygienic preparation and manufacturing of food. Then, 36 years later, the International Organization for Standardization stepped in and created ISO 22000 of 2005 to integrate the codex with other food safety programs and management systems on a global level. The ISO 22000 of 2005 defined the basic food safety concept. It states that food will not harm the consumer so long as intended use guidelines are followed when it is prepared or eaten. Conversely, food is potentially harmful whenever it has been exposed to hazardous agents and intended use guidelines have not been followed. This applies for all organizations and government agencies involved in what we call the food system, or the organized system that aims to meet the regulatory objective of producing safe and suitable food. The standards include that food must be followed from farm to fork. It emphasizes that the responsibility for food safety is shared by everyone involved with food from production to consumption, including growers, processors and regulators, distributors and retailers, and consumers. Therefore, once the consumers, that is us, purchase a food, the responsibility is also handed down to us.
In spite of the advances in food variety, convenience, and safety, the World Health Organization says that cases of disease caused by microbiologically contaminated food are on the increase. In developed countries, WHO identifies that the important causes of foodborne diseases are made in food preparation in households, in restaurants, and in other public places. Again, because of the fact that consumers are the last step in the food system, they need to understand how best to protect themselves against foodborne pathogens, both in choice and preparation of food. One must recognize and act on the telltale signs of unsafe food immediately. The WHO confirms microbial contamination is the greatest risk to food safety. Data suggests that there are only a few factors responsible for a large number of foodborne disease cases. Common errors include contamination through handling, cross-contamination between cooked and raw food, inadequate heating or reheating, preparation of food long before consumption, and having prepared food left too long at a temperature permitting growth of microorganisms. Though there are seemingly endless varieties of foods, preparation practices, eating customs, traditions, and habits, the food safety regulatory organizations believe that proper food safety practices can be effectively applied in any kitchen. Once it is, then we are set to have the best of our meals every day. So throughout the years, after the guidelines were formed, a lot of campaigns for ensuring food safety at home could be summarized into 4 words: clean, separate, cook, and chill.
Let's go over our first key word, clean. Microorganisms can spread throughout the kitchen and get into utensils, countertops, and food. To ensure that your hands and surfaces are clean, be sure to wash your hands with soap and warm water for at least 20 minutes before and after handling food. Wash cutting boards, dishes, and countertops with hot soapy water before and after food preparation too. Consider using paper towels to clean up the kitchen. In case of using cloth towels, make sure you wash them often with hot water. Rinse fresh fruits and vegetables under running tap water, including those with skins and rinds that are not eaten. With canned goods, remember to clean lids before opening. Then, in order to reduce cross-contamination, we need to separate raw meats from other foods. Remember to separate raw meat, poultry, seafood, and eggs from other food in your grocery shopping cart, grocery bags, and in your refrigerator. Use one cutting board for each as well. Never ever place cooked food on a plate that previously held the raw food. As for marinades, don't reuse them unless you bring them to a boil first. Next is to cook. That is to cook well. Food is safely cooked when it reaches a high enough internal temperature to kill the harmful bacteria that cause illnesses. To ensure that your food are cooked safely, always use a food thermometer. Check the internal temperature in several places to make sure that the meat, poultry, seafood, or eggs are cooked to safe minimum internal temperatures. For instance, ground meat or ground poultry must reach at least 70 degrees Celsius, 73.8 degrees Celsius for whole chicken, stuffed or roasted, and at least 62.7 degrees Celsius for fish. Although for gourmet dishes, color is not a very reliable indicator of doneness. Eggs must be cooked until the yolk and the white are firm. Always allow standing time, which completes the cooking before checking the internal temperature. Lastly, bring sauces, soups, and gravy to a boil when reheating.
Finally, don't forget to chill or refrigerate foods promptly. This is to slow down the growth of any bacteria left on your food. Do not overstuff your refrigerator. Cold air must circulate to help keep food safe. Keeping a constant refrigerator temperature of 23 degrees Celsius or below is one of the most effective ways to reduce the risk of foodborne illnesses. Use an appliance thermometer to be sure the refrigerator temperature is consistent and that the freezer temperature is 0 degrees Celsius or below. To chill foods properly, refrigerate or freeze meat, poultry, eggs, seafood, and other perishables within 2 hours of cooking and/or purchasing. Refrigerate within 1 hour if the temperature outside is above 50 degrees Celsius. Although this is common, you must never ever thaw food at room temperature, such as on the countertop. Food must be kept at a safe temperature during thawing, safe from the salmonella for instance. There are 3 safe ways to defrost food: in the refrigerator, in cold water, and in the microwave. Food thawed in cold water or in the microwave should be cooked immediately. Additionally, always marinate food inside the refrigerator, and, when storing leftovers, divide large amounts into shallow containers for quicker cooling. So unlike about 10 years ago, food is now followed from farm to fork to ensure it is safe. While the government and industry do their parts, food safety cannot end in markets and in groceries. It is in your hands to keep it safe once it gets to your homes. And food safety must continue all the way to your dinner tables and fork, or spoon. So remember, fight the unwanted microorganisms on your food. Keep your food safe, clean, separate, cook, and chill. Happy eating!